We go, however, to our next guest. His name is Martin Abrams. He's a Green Party councillor for Streatham. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Good afternoon, Jonathan. I'm very good.
Well, thank you for joining us, Martin. I'm quite intrigued now. Clive Lewis, Norwich South, has said that he's willing to vacate his seat to allow Andy Burnham the chance to come back in. The party that came second in Norwich South with a massive 13.5% vote share increase were the Greens. Would the Green Party welcome the ability to challenge this Labour government in Norwich South if the vacancy comes up?
Absolutely. I think there's been various polls that have shown the Greens winning any by-election that would be held in that constituency. So, you know, it'd be pretty reckless of Clive Lewis to trigger a by-election for Andy Burnham, because there's no guarantees that Andy Burnham would win that by-election, and his leadership campaign would be extinguished before it had even begun.
Martin, though, wouldn't Andy Burnham be the type of Labour leader Zach Polanski, your leader of the Green Party, be willing to do a deal with? I know he's ruled out working with Sir Keir Starmer. I think Zach has done a very good job, I must say, at publicising his views and those of the Green Party, albeit I'm sure, Martin, you and I probably wouldn't agree on the specific policies, but fair play. He's lived up to what he said he would do, put the Greens front and centre. But surely Andy Burnham's the type of Labour leader you wouldn't mind, right? You should step aside for someone like that.
Well, you know, the Greens are often polling above Labour at the moment. We've had successive polls where the Greens are polling more than the Labour Party, which shows what an absolute sorry state the Labour Party is currently in under Keir Starmer's leadership. I mean, Keir Starmer is polling the worst personal polling ratings for any Prime Minister in history. And for him to be polling worse than Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak is a pretty spectacular achievement. So Keir Starmer is effectively finished. It's a question of when he will go, not if. Obviously, he's fighting back because the various factions within the Labour Party are trying to figure out who is going to succeed Keir Starmer. Andy Burnham is obviously the candidate that the soft left would like within the Labour Party, but you know the hard right in the Labour Party, those controlled by Morgan McSweeney, probably have different ideas because they absolutely detest Andy Burnham and everything that he would stand for. You know, so there's obviously been talk about wedge streeting, that would just be continuity Starmerism, or Shabana Mahmood is also being talked about as a potential successor, and she's basically been showing what credentials she has over the course of this week in terms of being an authoritarian Home Secretary. But listen, let's be clear, Jonathan. There's three parties there, the Labour Party, Reform and Conservative, that are offering pretty much exactly the same offer to people. And that's why Labour are polling so poorly. Obviously, that's why the Conservatives are polling so poorly. And the risk is that the Labour Party trying to be kind of reform light will just usher in a far-right reform government, which you may like, but millions and millions of other people across the country are absolutely terrified of.
Well, Martin, if I may quickly, just because of time, I want to make sure I get your view on this as well, because you rightly point out Labour are indeed haemorrhaging support, as we've seen, to the Greens in terms of voters, but also members as well. It's been quite a tumultuous increase in the vote share for the Greens. But there is now this Your Party, which Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn keep feuding over who's going to lead. I mean, isn't the risk here that they split you guys on the left? And actually, wouldn't it just, with the rise of Zach Polanski and the work he's been doing, wouldn't you just rather see Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn join the Greens?
Well, obviously, yes, but that's not going to happen in my view, because they put a lot of work into this Your Party, which has had a very traumatic birth. But as Zach Polanski says, we prefer these people to join the Green Party. We've seen a huge Green surge of membership and support over the course of the last few weeks. That's because the Green Party are offering something different to the toxicity and the divisiveness of the Labour Party, Reform and the Conservative Party. But, you know, there is potentially still a place for your party in this country. And it's essential that those of us on the left of politics, you know, work together to ensure that there is not a far-right government in this country that scapegoats the most vulnerable in this country, like migrants and asylum seekers. And we have a left voice that says the problem of our country is inequality. The problem of our country is the massive increase in billionaires and billionaire wealth. The 50 richest families in this country, Jonathan, own more than 50% of wealth. You cannot sit here as a presenter on TalkTV and say that that is healthy for our society. That is a deeply unhealthy, a deeply unequal society. A little bit of redistribution to make our country more equal, to ensure that people, children, are not going to school hungry, are not going to sleep hungry, and can afford to turn the heating on during cold snaps that we're seeing at the moment, is not a bad thing. You know, we need to have left-wing policies in this country that address the absolute dearth of 45 years of neoliberalism.
Martin, I'm so sorry because of time and because of the ad break, I'm going to have to let you go. But can I promise you that I will get you back on soon, because I would love to debate policy with you. I think you have been very good at laying out your party's arguments, and that is Martin Abrams, Green Party Councillor for Streatham, joining us there.